Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin in Somalia tonight, where U.S. forces have now been caught squarely in the middle of the country's chaotic and deadly civil war. There was a riot this morning in the capital, Mogadishu. Some French and Egyptian troops were attacked, but Americans were the main target because one powerful warlord believes the U.S. is siding with one of his rivals. In Mogadishu for us, ABC's Nathan Thomas.
For more than 6 hours, coalition soldiers fired into the air, trying to disperse the crowds that kept coming back. They were the most violent anti-American demonstrations so far and show just how fragile the peace here really is. Followers of General Adid, one of Mogadishu's major warlords, set fires in the streets and threw rocks at U.S. troops and other coalition forces. But they kept any weapons out of sight, perhaps knowing coalition troops are authorized to shoot to kill if they're threatened. Demonstrators also stormed the Egyptian embassy, tearing down the flag, looting the buildings of everything they could carry out, then tossing grenades into the compound. 2 American Marines were wounded, apparently while defending the Egyptian embassy. One was hit by shrapnel from a grenade. The other was injured by small arms fire. General Adid says 5 Somalis were killed and 15 injured. General Adid's followers took to the streets because they blamed the Americans for showing favoritism to a rival warlord who invaded the southern city of Kismayu earlier this week. Tonight, Mogadishu is quiet, and the warlord whose invasion of Kismayu sparked the demonstrations has agreed to pull his gunmen out of that city and resume peace negotiations. But the violence here and in Kismayu shows just how powerful the warlords can be, and has, at least temporarily, slowed the withdrawal of U.S. forces. Nathan Thomas, ABC News, Mogadishu.
In Bosnia today, Serbian forces have captured the Muslim suburb of Azici on the edge of Sarajevo. A local Serb commander said, "We don't want to lose soldiers, so we've decided on a new tactic. We destroy a place before we occupy it." In Washington, there's still no formal announcement concerning American plans to airdrop food and medicine primarily to the Muslims in Bosnia. That may come tomorrow. President Clinton is still lining up support. Today, most notably from the British Prime Minister John Major, who was at the White House. Here's ABC's Britt Hume.
The President and the Prime Minister seem to have gotten along well in their first meeting, which was followed by a joint news conference dominated by questions about Bosnia. Specifically, the 2 men were asked about the Clinton plan to airdrop emergency relief supplies there. Some military experts have said pilots flying high enough to avoid attack from the ground would be too high to drop the supplies anywhere near their targets. Mr. Clinton thought otherwise.
We also know that if we leaflet the area in advance, if we notify the people about what we're dropping and how to use the medicine and what kind of food will be there, to whatever extent people need it, they'll be on the lookout for it. And if they have to walk a mile instead of a half mile for it, we think they will.
Major, who some in the Clinton camp felt tried to help George Bush in the recent campaign, did the new president the favor of saying some carefully measured but nonetheless kind words about the Bosnia airlift idea.
And I think the prospect that the president is exploring is an imaginative one, and I hope it'll prove successful.
Mr. Clinton said a reaction from other governments to his plan had also been positive, and he appeared to confirm reports that the relief supplies would be for the benefit of all sides, presumably including the Serbs.
We want everybody to know that this is a humanitarian mission, and we're prepared to help anybody who needs the food and medicine. And we want the broadest possible support for this.
Obviously, the administration is hoping that if all sides stand to benefit from the airdrop, there'll be no incentive for anyone to shoot at U.S. planes. The one thing the new president does not need is a military incident that could draw the U.S. into the fighting in Bosnia. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.